explain how you guys like chose or ended up deciding
Mhm.
on your colleges. Like tell
Yeah.
tell kids who are like in high school, like sophomores, juniors, and seniors, like your process for choosing Connecticut, for choosing, you know, Siena. Like how did you guys arrive to this? Like this is my college. This is why I want
Yeah.
to go there, and bingo.
Nemo, do you want to go?
Yeah. For me, um, because I played water polo since I was like 5, that was like the one thing that I identified with, and I didn't really get to explore a lot of things outside of the sport. So like, I was just that was like the one thing that I did all my life. And so going to college, I knew that I wanted to not have to give up the sport, but at the same time be able to like explore other things. Because I didn't know what I'd like to do. I didn't know what was my favorite class. Like I didn't have hobbies or interests outside of water polo. So I wanted the chance to do that, but still be able to compete at like a high level. And so when I was like looking at schools and stuff, I applied to some D1 schools. I applied to like Villanova and Santa Clara, but I also applied to D3 schools as well. Connecticut College, you know, being one of them. And I just knew like going to con, I met the team, I went on campus, I talked to Matt. Um, they all the girls that I met had like an interest outside of water polo. So like the captain was like on the honor council, which at our school it's like this council that like oversees different violations to like the school honor code. It's like a big thing. But there's a girl like on the in the poetry club. She was like president of the poetry club. There was another captain that was she was like president of like women in STEM. So like there were girls that were doing a lot of other different things, but still, you know, playing water polo. And so I knew not only just like talking to them, but like being on campus, there's just like a feeling that I had. Like my mom was there and I was like telling her all about like, you know, like my stay, like the how it was with like the girls, like my whole visit. And just the more and more I talked about it, the more and more excited I got. And there was like just the sense of pride of knowing that like, you know, this is a school that I potentially have a shot at attending. So my suggestion would be like if you go to a school, like there is a feeling that you have when you like meet the team, when you get to visit. But another thing I would say is like, yes, it's wonderful to go D1, like that's an amazing opportunity and experience, but don't close off your options to D2 or D3 schools, because the competitive aspect and like the level of intensity is still there. You just, it's not as I don't know, like Diana goes to D1 school, so she can tell you more about like what it's like, but for us it's not. Our season is a lot shorter, but we still have like preseason with captains. We're still working out every week. It's just not as like constant, right? So you do get an opportunity to do other things as well. So that's why I decided to go to con. And I also love Matt. I met Matt when I was like in 8th grade, and this was during the time that I was playing for Michigan Spartans. And so he was coaching us during Turbo Cup, and I remember telling him, because I loved Michigan, like that was my number one school since like forever. And so he was the coach at the time. Yeah, he was the coach at the time, and I told him, I was like, I want to play for you. And he's like, okay, well, call me in like 4 years and we'll talk about it. And it's just crazy how he ended up going to con, and that was like the school I chose. So it just like worked perfectly, honestly.
That's crazy. I mean, yeah, my experience was pretty similar. I looked at various schools. I looked into a lot of California schools, but I kind of started just kind of taking a step back and realizing that maybe all of college isn't going to revolve around water polo. So I looked at D3. I looked at every division. I applied to a few schools. I really liked Carthage, actually. Carthage is in
Oh yeah.
Wisconsin, and they had a really good nursing program. They offered me great academics, but it was just still really expensive. So a big thing for me was what was going to be something that I could still kind of step out of the box and do, which was leave the state, and also be able to play, but be able to have the academic fund and the water polo funds to do that. So I went on a recruiting trip with Sienna. It kind of all sort of happened really quick, but when I did go and I met the team and I saw the school, it's a really small school. It's a really small liberal arts school, but I loved it. I thought the team was really small. They're really close. When we played Nemo, our team was still smaller than hers. And I think that's how it's always been. So I think I just really liked the fact that it was going to be something that felt like family, like a really close-knit team. And I knew I wanted to not be going to a school where I wasn't going to get the option of like playing and getting as much kind of, oh my god, Veda, is that you? All I hear is like,
sorry.
No, you're fine.
Yeah,
it's funny though, because
it's like killing my teeth.
It's funny because every time I drive by Beto's building, I somehow always see him. Like somehow I'm just outside wandering. But yeah, so where was I?
You were talking about how your team is small. It's a family.
Oh yeah, I wanted a really small, close knit community. I always had Michigan as my dream school, but when it came down to it, I had to be realistic. Was I gonna play all 4 years? Was I gonna get the most out of it? I wanted to go to a team where I knew I was gonna leave a mark on the team and leave kind of my own legacy. And I'm glad I chose that school because not only did I get to play D1, it didn't engulf my entire college experience. I had a social life. I had my academics. I had a job. I had other things that weren't just I wasn't just eating, breathing, living water. A lot of my time, and the hours are really, really gruesome throughout the entire year. It's not just during season, and it gets even harder during season. But I think that in itself really challenged me. I knew I wanted to kind of continue challenging myself in the way that I was able to schedule my time at Ignatius. I knew if I could handle Ignatius, I honestly felt that college wasn't going to be as hard as Ignatius. High school was really tough in just the fact that you had practices. The school itself was difficult, having every other aspect of living as a high school student. So there was a lot to go into just me knowing that I was still gonna play water polo at the level that I wanted to play, and I was still gonna be a really big impact on the team, while also just not going to this huge Division I school that was gonna force me to kind of eliminate things that I really didn't want to get rid of as a college student.
Yeah. And going off of that too, like I know for a lot of people, like money is like a really big thing when like you're choosing, schools. And so a lot of the times with like D3 schools, like they don't have like the athletic scholarships, but they do have like academic scholarships. And personally, like I feel like having an academic scholarship is a lot more what's the word, like it's more securing knowing that like you have that, because like if you, let's say, go to a D1 school and you have like that athletic scholarship, like you're still competing with your teammates on like getting that scholarship, how that money is like divided. One year you might get a certain amount, right, and the next year, depending on how you play or who else is coming in, like that money might change. And so
what's your money amount? I didn't know that.
Yeah, it changes. So like that for me, I knew that I didn't want to have that stress on my parents. And so Khan was 100% needs met. I think that's what they say or something like that, where like basically whatever you get on your FAFSA, whatever is said that like the amount that you can get, that they meet that amount. And if let's say you apply to another school and they're giving you a lot more, you can show it to Khan and say, well, this school is giving me this. And I'm sure it's like this with other schools. You can show them, well, this school is giving me this amount. Can you meet that amount? And then they will that amount for you. So it's a lot of like just being informed on how the scholarships work and like the financial aid stuff that goes into it, because I think ultimately like that's the biggest thing that like dictated for me at least where I was gonna go.
100%. Do your scholarships. Fill out as many scholarships as you can. Fill out your FAFSA. That is the biggest recommendation I can do.
Yeah.
Talk to whoever you need. Talk to the financial aid offices. Talk to advisors. Talk to people that have gone to that school. They'll help maneuver kind of your decisions that you need to make.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, no, great advice. It definitely helps to kind of talk about your experiences looking at schools, and then, would you say that having gone through school now for Diana, you're obviously graduating, Nemo, you're a year behind. Do you feel like you've made the right decision in your schools, both not just from a water polo standpoint, but also from a school standpoint, from a community standpoint, social life? Are you happy with the choices you've made?
I am. I think, yes, I do. There's some side of me that wonders like what it would have been like if I had been at a bigger water polo like team school, like D1. But then looking at my experience that I had on my team, like I know like I've made a great impact, and I've created like long-lasting friendships just because like our team is so small and we rely on each other so much, and we're supporting each other like outside of like water polo. So in that sense, like I think at the end of the day, like I'm really appreciative that like I got the chance to go to con, and like just academically we have professors that like teach at Princeton and Harvard and like Brown, so like we get that academic caliber like at our school. So it's just really nice. I think I'm proud with my choice. No, yeah. We'll just keep it at that.
I mean, yeah, I think I'm the opposite though, where playing at a D1 school, I'm kind of like, well, what if I had done the option of just going to school in Chicago, going to school in Illinois, even just whatever D3 schools there are around here, and kind of making it more of a. We're pretty far away. I used to go visit Nemo sometimes. I'd drive out to her. We were like a 2-hour ride, but yeah, we're far from home. I think the biggest thing is if you are thinking about going out of state, that option of like homesickness is always there, that kind of feeling of, especially if you do decide to go to D1 school. I was never able to go home for like any breaks. We would either go on competitions or we'd be forced to stay for practice. So I think that was one of the harder things for me, not being able to go home for anything. I would go home for winter break, and then even then sometimes they tell us like, hey, we're trying to get back earlier. The decision was, but overall, I think I'm happy with what I did. What's done is done.
Yeah.
College, regardless, was a lot of money. I think that was something that I think could have been handled a little better for me. But looking at it now, I did I got my major here thinking that I would be able to do nursing there. I think that was my biggest mistake, because I wasn't able to do my clinicals with it. So it was either they didn't open up the program until the end of my freshman year. So I spoke to advisors, I spoke to the nursing director, and she gave me my options. She told me we could try it out, but it was looking very unlikely because clinicals would take the entirety of a day, and then having to do a practice by myself and do makeup lifts and all of that, I wasn't going to get the experience that I needed for water polo. So it was one or the other. So luckily for me, they opened up a health science major. And so I was able to kind of branch out in the field that I wanted to do. And so I looked at different portions of the healthcare careers, administrative, all of that stuff. And that I spoke to a couple of people, and that kind of led me to choosing a BSN program. So I will be going to school at Loyola now. But I mean, I know ended up taking like a longer path. So I will be done in a year and a half, but I mean, I think it worked out, and it's the more expensive route for sure, because I got to play water polo and I got to do all that. I got to get my major, but now I have to pay for more school. And so keeping that in mind, I know had I probably planned it a little bit better where I knew I would be able to handle it in all aspects, I think even looking back at it, maybe Carthage would have been my better option. But I knew I wanted to play polo at a really intense level. I'm so glad I did. I mean, I got challenged in such crazy ways. Like, you get to play these huge schools. I got to play against ASU. I got to play against all these huge California schools that, I mean, I would have never had level play. So I think that just in itself was enough gratification for me to know that college water polo at Siena was the right choice to do, because I did get to play these crazy games that I kind of worked my whole life to do. I'm glad I did it. I'm glad I kind of just didn't give up early on. I wanted to play polo. I knew that for sure. But I'm glad I did it this way.
Like,
A
don't
little
stress
longer,
out about
but
knowing what you want to do,
research
because
usually.
like it happens. Like you're gonna switch. You're gonna like, oh, I want to be a lawyer, and then you decide you want to be like a chemist. And no, I mean that's not what I chose. But like I'm just saying, it just changes.
Yeah, it sounds like something you do.
Yeah, everyone that I know, everyone either switches majors once or at least goes in undecided. I switched from bio to psych to health science, so like it was all over the place. It's not a bad thing. You're gonna think like, oh, you're gonna fall behind. Like, that's not the case. It all falls into place. 4 years is a long time to make up anything that you think that you're uncertain about.
True.
You guys are such a great interview. We got to have you guys again, but the next time we're just going to make fun out of people. We're going to trash people.
Yeah.
Oh my god, yay! I was hoping that's what this one was going to be. We got a little
This was all the informative stuff.
Yeah. This is a serious interview.
The next one, we're definitely going to make fun out of people. Yeah. Make your list, and then we'll get it next time.
I'll take notes.
Yes, definitely take notes.
Games.
Right? Do some scouting and just kind of,
I can't be that mean.
Nemo, shut up.
Diana, this is gonna be posted on YouTube for
something. You know something really cool? Me and Nemo had I had my last collegiate game against Nemo. My entire team said that Nemo was such a mean girl. and my players are like tough. I get it. Half of my team were freshmen this year. So, like, a lot of them were, like, Nemo would bully them. And, like, I mean, that game was kind of just, like, super chill. Me and Nemo would guard each other, and we'd be like, hey, girl, like, what's up? And, like, it was really chill for me and Nemo. But then she'd go guard one of my other teammates, and she'd go and, like, hit them and like, pull their suits and I don't know what.
Listen, we are a D3 program. People doubt us. So I have to, I have to show them what's up.
Who's boss?
For people who don't know, and especially the younger kids that are going to see this, don't be fooled by both of these smiles. They're mean, they're vicious. When they get in the water, these girls, yeah, see?
Oh,
that's why you guys bully the boys all the time.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, I'm sure Shane is traumatized.
No, I'm sure we gave him the skills he needed to play at college. He played so well in college. All me and Nemo all are doing.
Yeah, that's exactly it.
100%. I agree
That
with
was
that.
all you two.
Really, I'm sorry, you didn't coach him for those 4 years. It was us.
You did my job for me, so I just got to stand there and look important. You guys did all the hard work, so I thank you from the bottom of my heart for making Shane the way he is now.
We shaped one of your greatest players.
Yeah, you did. You did. All right. Well, thanks for coming on. We're definitely going to have you back so we can make fun of other players and, be safe. Congratulations, Diana, on your graduation. Good luck with your upcoming
Our graduation's
nursing stuff.
tomorrow.
Yeah. All right. Graduation time.
Woo!
And then Nemo, good job with finishing finals, hopefully. And we will talk to you guys next time. All right.
Good.
Bye.
Everyone.
See you guys. Good to see you guys.
Bye.